You've waited a lifetime to look better and feel better, and now here's your chance. Fitness Friday on WNDB. Call 239-0033 and have your questions answered on health, fitness, and a better life. Fitness Friday is brought to you by Bodez by Tasso & Company, 1140 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. And now, here's your host, Tasso Kyriakis.
You know, we really got to do some new intros.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
I think it's great.
Well, the only thing is, you know, now it sort of predates us because now we have Dr. Fond, it's sort of a co-sponsor with us, coming on once a month with us. We have Love Whole Food that is with us 3 out of every 4 weeks. And today we'll have Love Whole Food with the guest, and we'll talk about living and walking the walk and talk and the lifestyle. But we have a quick call. You know, some friends of mine are down at, you remember last year, I think it was Molly Hatchet performed at
They're here a lot, Molly.
Yeah, during the bike week.
Yeah.
But they performed in Holly Hill last year at the 3rd Street little park that's there. That's like 7 acres right there where it used to be the Bahama House restaurant, remember?
Hogs on the Hill, they call that.
Hogs on the Hill, right. It's called Hogs on the Hill this year, but it's taken a little change. So, you know, being a resident in that area and living on 2nd Street, I said, you know what? This is such a great change. I want people to know this is going on. So on the phone, we got Larry Steele of Steele Motorcycles. I thought it was a funny name. I saw all these motorcycles lined up on the corner, third and
On a steel horse I ride.
And I said, Steele. Imagine how many, like, someone stole. And
I see. It's spelled differently.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Larry, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good this morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. I see Robin and John got you woke up.
Man, they got me up early this morning. We were in there late last night getting things set up. We got so many vendors that were coming in. They were coming in all hours of the night and stuff. And so, hey, it looks good down there. We're excited. Well, I'm excited too because, you know, I'm part of the Holly Hill family because now I live there. And last week we had to survive the Molly Hatchet concert and the traffic jam that went on around there. And as I was talking with John last night, it was a drunk fest, which is a lot of those on Bike Week, you know. But you guys have really set up a pretty neat little sort of country store type of operation with some live music on the corner of 3rd and US 1. I want people to hear a little bit about it. My good friend Robin Hanger from the car shop is there with his trailer sales, you know, great deals on trailers. Allstate Insurance is there with my friend John Penny. There's a lot of other people there that have their trades, like the guy that made your laser sign I thought was so cool. Tell us a little bit what's going to go on there this weekend so people maybe will stop by that are visiting the area as well as people who are residents of the area. Well, it's pretty neat, and it's a lot different than what we did last year. And you know, one big thing is, like you said, our selection is so big. It's like you said, Robin's got over 200 trailers, you know, to choose from. I mean, it's huge. And John's sitting up there, and he's got a great, John Penny with Allstate, he's got a great display. And then our entertainment this year, we've got a local talent. His name is Johnny Reed Foley. Johnny is, you know, he's a singer-songwriter. He's just a fantastic entertainer. He plays like 9 different instruments, and he gets up on the stage and just everybody loves him. He just does a great job, and he's going to be out there. He's going to be out there daily. You know, he's going to play 2 sets a day. You know, from like noon until 3 o'clock, and then from like 3 to 7. And he's pretty entertaining. And we have cold beverages. You know, adult beverages available, but just like you said, it's not a big old drunk party or anything, but you know, if you want to come out and sit down, we got a fella came in from all the way from Louisiana, and he brought this Cajun cooker, and he's got all kinds of jambalaya and all kinds of just all kinds of Cajun food, alligator tail and stuff, and wow. I think that's pretty neat.
That's sort of cool. You know, and it's going to be a nice little hometown, for lack of flea market, for lack of a better term. It's just going to be targeted into that sort of you know, unique kind of things that circle around Bike Week.
Well, that guy that you talked about, that Wooden guy, the name of his company is Wooden, and to see him do this etching, he does this laser etching, and he does it in wood, or he does it in plexiglass, and he makes these unique signs. And hey, they're LED, they're lighted by LED lights, and they're just, hey, it's really some neat stuff. And then speaking of LED lights, hey, we've got one of the largest LED lighting signs companies there for your motorcycles. I mean, we have custom lighting effects there, and it's Ken Gardner, and Ken's a local businessman in Holly Hill also, and he's got a 30-foot setup up there to take care of all the motorcycles and stuff, and probably the best selection of lights I've ever seen. So,
that's the nice thing about it, Larry. It is. Although you talked about the guy coming in from Louisiana with the big Cajun cooker, it is predominantly our people from our area, which, one of the big problems that people have in this area is that we get all these itinerant tenants that come down and they take a lot of money out of the area that they haven't paid on par to the city or to the county for their fees or for their licenses, but they're legal in what they're doing. There's no problem with that. But then we get a lot of our local merchants that sort of get slighted by that. And I'm glad to see that there's a venue now for the local merchants to get out there and create our own event that really circles and takes advantage of the people who are here and gets them some good deals and things. I noticed you had some really good deals on motorcycles.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's our purpose. Our purpose was to build an event here in Holly Hill. We're right in the center of everything that goes on in the motorcycle world, and that was our intention, was to capture the crowd and with Holly Hill merchants. Because there's nobody here in town that doesn't have to drive past us to get to where they're going. Hey, we're right there at 3rd Street and US 1, and everybody has to drive past all of the Holly Hill merchants, and that was the whole purpose of the deal. And yes, motorcycles. Hey, that's the thing of the whole thing. And we've got over 100 motorcycles up there for sale. It's what we do. My company's called Daytona Wholesale Motorcycles, and we started by just wholesaling motorcycles to dealerships, and we just decided to open it up to the public. So that's kind of our theme. It's kind of it's kind of like, why pay retail? Hey, come by, come get it here and save some money. Because we're just going to sell it to the dealership, and of course they're going to mark it up. So we've got some great prices on bikes. We got a good selection. We got a local vendor from this area here that sells sunglasses. We just got a little bit of everything for everybody. All kinds of hot dogs and hamburgers and all kinds of stuff. The Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce is here, so we've got a lot of stuff happening.
Well, I hope a lot of people come out. We're going through this weekend and then next weekend, so it'll be a great opportunity for people. So I hope people go out and enjoy the sounds of our time in our little town.
We sure appreciate you talking to us, and hey, we're there we open at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're there until around 7 o'clock at night. We'll have some good music and some good times, and looks like the sun shines out, and we've got favorable weather. So if everybody come out and see us, and we'll make this a great success for the city of Holly Hill.
And don't tell John that it said State Farm instead of Allstate Farm, because he'll kill me again.
All right, I'll take care of it.
All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. So, Kathleen online too?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're starting the show out right on schedule. Kathleen, welcome to Fitness Friday.
Thank you.
And we are one of your main sponsors of the 13th Annual Holistic Health and Community Fair that's going to be going on March 30th from 10 to 4 inside the Sunshine Park Mall. And you're going to have some things outside, and it's free admission.
That's holistic with a W.
Holistic
That's
with a
the
W.
whole thing.
Well, it's the same thing.
It is.
And this is a direction we're taking in my interest. And, in the past, I would look at the magazine that I had, Awakenings, and I'd look through it. I go, oh, this is really good. And, I like this stuff. And probably 2 years ago, I really got to where I was very concerned about the quality of the air, water, and food that we intake. And so your fair must be really gaining prowess from the standpoint of the number of people coming to it, because there's so much more of an awareness now when we start talking to people about the quality of their food and how it interrupts hormones, and that's a lot of what we'll spend the time talking with Mitch on, because Love Whole Food is one of the sponsors of the Fitness Friday show, and he and I will be at the Sunshine Park Mall on March 30th. Tell us a little bit about the event.
Oh, we have so much going on, Tazo. We have so many vendors calling us every day. We are almost full to capacity. We have other health food stores in the area as well. We have chiropractors. We have Dr. Phil Afghani from South Daytona and Daytona Beach Shores, and Gingras Chiropractic Clinic. And we've always had about 5 or 6 chiropractors in the past, so we really could use a few more. We have Wayne Solar teaching how to use solar energy in your home. We have Living Towers teaching hydroponic gardening. We have 10 massage therapists from Daytona State College, so they'll be on duty all day for a free massage. You won't have to wait. They'll have 10 chairs lined up.
I bet there's still a wait.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
And I know it's well attended because Tasso Spanos, who is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, always would come down and want to target his stay here around this. And a lot of people come in from there. And I'm actually, Tasso, last year had a stroke and won't be down this year, but I'm actually trying to get another trigger point myotherapist to come up from Cocoa Beach to be in our booth with us. That'll do a little work on people. So we're working on that aspect because I think this is the thing that we're looking at. And I hate to use the word. I think Mitch had a better word the other day, but I can't remember what he used. But we use the word alternative to what other people typically do. The alternative to some of the natural, like the lady's going to talk about hydroponic gardening. We could go buy our food at the grocery store, or we can start to grow. And I think you see more and more people gardening in their backyards and building these cool little towers that you can build and stuff like that to get. And I have a member at my club that she brings me in vegetable soup about once a month that comes from this little tower that she actually has in her house. It isn't any more than 36 inches. She says gets all of her vegetables and her herbs from that now.
Yeah, they'll be there. Living towers will be there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot there to be seen, from a physical standpoint. I think we get a little bit on the edge from the standpoint of you'll have your transcendental meditation people there, you'll have your yoga people, you have some Pilates people there as well. So it's a nice list of, and really what holistic medicine is about and holistic living is about really the ancient Greek philosophy of sound body, mind, and spirit. It really, you're addressing it all.
Yes. Make the farm your pharmacy. Hippocrates taught us 5,000 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, we have a lot of health and wellness coaches, all local people, including myself, John Lynch, Nancy Brighton, Rose Ellen Biggers, Ed Eisel, Laura Conley, and there are others as well. Dr. Lorenzo Fon will be demonstrating acupuncture.
That's one of our guys.
Yes, he is. Arc Acupuncture will be there, Smyrna Colonics, StemTech, BioScan. Then we have people doing essential oils. There's a new organization, doTERRA. They'll be there doing essential oils. SoSci Healthy Chocolate. They've been with us for years. There'll be organic coffee and tea. We have Daytona Fitness mom, Michelle Rakowski. I'll try to get her next week to come on the show if that would be good for you. We have other vendors. We have mainstream vendors. We have Humana. We have the Citizens Observation Program. They're a volunteer observation program that drives around just to patrol the streets, and they will be there with us. Herbalife, Prime Care, Urgent Care. I mean, we have so many.
I noticed the Pharmanex people will be there. Will they have their little scanner that does the looks at the levels of antioxidants and things like that?
Yes. We have BioScan as well. And even if you want to take a little trip out there, so to speak, we have astrologers, numerologists. Aura K takes pictures of your aura. I mean, it's just amazing the different things we have, and it's all good. Everybody has a different interest. Everybody comes from a different area, and it's all about the wholeness. It's all about the wholeness of our bodies and taking care of our bodies in that way. And I love, Mitch calls it complementary. It's all complementary.
There we go. That was the word he used. That was a better word. Because, in holistic, it's like, for years, I complained that as a for-profit fitness center, we were competing against the non-profits, and we were competing fairly. And about this year, I changed the words. We're a community-invested fitness center because our taxes invest in the community, and we invest in the community with what we do. So that's why we're involved with you in this holistic health and community fair, is because our mission statement, which I think would be very similar to your mission statement, is to dramatically and positively affect the lifestyle of our community. And what we want to do is we want to be involved in that community. And this is one of the ways we do it. This is a great opportunity for us. It's our first one that we're going to actually do. It's not the first one I've been to, but it's the first one that we're going to actually be to. You're going to have demonstrations. You're going to have exhibitors. Now, this year, the demonstration is a little bit different. They're going to be at each individual booth, right?
That's right.
And then you also had someone that's going to demonstrate some exercise equipment outside in the parking lot. Did I remember that correctly?
Yes, Lloyd. Gina from Lloyd Equipment. She'll be demonstrating outside some the Elliptico. And I'm not quite sure what it is, but people will be well protected. She'll be providing helmets and Everyone's insured, so it's all good.
Okay, you know, I got to worry when you got a piece of exercise equipment you got to put a helmet on for.
Yeah, I know. It was a bicycle.
It's like I have a stretch machine that was made by Precor. And the first time I ever saw this machine, you know, like you kneel in it, and they had little tethers that you would put around your hands, and you to hold you in. And I go like, okay, I got to worry about the history if you have to put those little things around your wrist to keep you from flopping back. I said, don't you think we ought to maybe reconsider what we're doing there, the exercises?
Yeah. Well, this is a bicycle. It's like
Okay.
it's like a bicycle. That's why. So helmets required with that. But
Oh,
we
so it's
also
like you
have-
ride it. It's actually it's not a stationary one. You actually ride it around.
Right, exactly.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Right.
so we don't want anyone getting hurt. And we have 2 representatives from Natural Awakenings. Of course, we always have Natural Awakenings of Volusia and Flagler counties, and now we have Natural Awakenings from Jacksonville, and he'll also be representing Witch Doctor Natural Blends. And he has a quote in here from Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That's right on his website. But he has a natural weight loss supplement and daily healthy supplements and metabolism booster, natural pain relief. So he has all kinds of things going on. Calls himself the Witch Doctor.
All right. Well, listen, we'll have our own little witch doctor in the corner with us because we'll have Mitch over there. I went up to Mitch's customer appreciation thing in Port Orange last week.
Yes.
And I walked around for an hour and a half, ended up buying a bunch of stuff because I couldn't get a word in edgewise to him. Sort of like when he's on the show, it's like he was just talking.
Yes.
But yeah, we're giving a lot of people a lot of information, you know, just standing on the side.
Yes.
You learn a little bit every time you hear him talk because he helps each person in a personal basis. And that'll be available opportunity-wise at our booth that we're going to have there. And we've been promised that we're going to have a really neat-looking WNDB sign and with our names on it. We'll see if Mike Motain comes through. Otherwise, we'll have to take him in the back woodshed and beat him up.
Wait.
So he said the program director's fault is who's at B-Dave, so it'll be on you.
All right, sure.
So the 13th annual Holistic Health and Community Fair is going to be on Saturday, March the 30th, 2013, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, Kathleen, that's at 2400 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona at Sunshine Park Mall.
Right.
And your phone number, do you have room for more exhibitors?
Oh, yes, we do, but we are filling up very quickly, but we do still have more room, yes.
Okay, so the number is 386-248-1868, 248-1868. Get in touch with Kathleen, and she can put you into the show. Kathleen, tell us a little bit about just what's your most unusual experience you've ever had with the health fair? Because, you know, being as I call it, as Mitch calls it complimentary, I call it alternative. What's the most unusual thing you've seen people's experience be at these things?
Well, we have people from all walks of life. We have younger people. We have older people. We have families walking around, pushing baby strollers. We have teenagers walking around together. So it attracts a wide variety. The most unusual exhibitor I had was a few years ago. I'd love to have her there again. She had some massage equipment where she kind of hung from it and she walked on your back. And she had a line of 10 or 12 people at any given time. I
remember Kim Lee, I think is her name, is one of the girls that does it. And then there's Dr. Alden Hall, who's a chiropractor in Ormond Beach. She's actually my personal chiropractor. He has a girl in his office that does it too. And they actually sort of need to see their massager because they got these bars on the top. And they actually walk on you
Sounds
doing
great.
it. Yeah, it's sort of a foot massage kind of.
Right.
But I know a lot of guys that go to that and really enjoy it, you know.
I remember, Kathleen, when I attended your fair a number of years ago, there was a woman that would sell you a photograph of your aura.
Yeah, she'll be there.
Okay,
RK.
good.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
All right.
Right.
I haven't seen my aura in a while, so I'd like to get my photograph.
Oh, time to update it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
And then
she'll be there. RK.
Okay. And okay to RK. So
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what my aura would look like. I'm wondering about that thing.
It's very interesting.
It would be
really is.
discombobulated at best. I think the most unusual thing I saw is when Tasso Spanos was there.
Yes.
Is people were just amazed that they would get relief so quickly, and they were just, it's like they were now they were fighting. There's these people who are in pain who supposedly can't move, and they're trying to throw people out of the way to get to the front of the line. Wait, I was waiting before, and I remember the show closed at 4, and I was there with Tasso till like 7 o'clock.
Yes.
He's still working on people. I'm going, are you crazy kidding me, man?
Yes, I know. He had a line out the door until well after closing.
Right.
Yes, I was also at Mitch's celebration on Saturday. It was absolutely wonderful. I remember telling him I felt like I was at a party. There was so many wonderful samples to enjoy. But my favorite, absolutely, and I must say this, was the soup in his little cafe there. He has an amazing...
Mitch, did you hear that? Are you hearing what she's saying? She said she was at the event on Saturday. He doesn't have his earphones on yet. So but she was at the event on Saturday, and her favorite was the soup that was in the cafe that you had.
Yeah, tomato basil. I think it was tomato bisque. Yeah.
Tomato bisque.
Yes.
Made with Florida.
Pull that microphone up there. There you go.
That's Kathleen. That was really nice. That the basil came from a local farm just outside of Astor. So I think that was the secret ingredient.
Boy, it was excellent. It was the best bowl of soup I've ever had. I'm a real soup fanatic. I love soup. I eat it every day. I don't care if it's 100 degrees out. I sit down and have a bowl of hot soup.
All right. Well, Kathleen, we're gonna let you jump out, and remember, we'll be there with you on Saturday, March 30th, 10 to 4 at Sunshine Mall. Kathleen's number is 248-1868 if you'd like to be part of the show. It is the 13th annual Holistic Health and Community Fair, and have demonstrations, exhibitors, and then there'll be prizes and drawings and things you're going to have as well. So I hope a lot of people come out. Admission is free. It'll be something to do that morning. It'll be after the Bike Week stuff.
Right.
And if you want more information, you go to www.holisticfairs.com.
And also this Wednesday at Love's at 7 o'clock in the evening on March 13th, I'll be doing a seminar for baby boomers. So any baby boomers out there, come on down.
All right. Are you going? That's going to be at the Port Orange one, right?
Yes, in Port Orange. That's correct.
Okay, so that'll be at the Port Orange one. And what I found out looking for that, it's a little bit set back, and you got to look for it. But it's worth the trip. It's 275 Williamson Boulevard. I'm sorry, it's 1633 Taylor Road in Port Orange. And you'll be this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Kathleen, look forward to it. God bless you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, and bless you too.
All right, and we've got to go to break, and we'll be coming back. I want to remind you that we have a couple more weeks left. The 30th will be the last day of the $13 down, $13 a month promotion at Bodez, which gets you started for your membership, and then you choose the membership you want to be. There's 3 levels of membership. There's the independent, there's the supervised, or there is the one-on-one program. It's a great opportunity to be involved. Over $300 in savings in the first 3 months of your membership. It is an opportunity we have done because we knew people would want to know the difference between what's out there between those $10 clubs and those $30 clubs. And, we are a little bit different in our structure because we are, on average about a $50 a month club. Why would people spend $50 to be at Bodez Personalized Fitness when you spend $10 to be at these other clubs? Well, we'll give you that chance to see that with our $13 down, $13 a month promotion that gets you started. As always, all of our memberships have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Plus, there's a special one-on-one incentive we come up. So 672-6464. Please book an appointment because I do like to spend about 20 minutes with you to talk about your personal goals. We'll be back in 3 minutes, and we're going to break and coming back with Love, Laugh, and Lift.
Treat yourself to a movie in a luxury leather seat with a glass of wine or crafted beer in your hand. Enjoy the latest movies in high-definition Sony digital projection. Only at Ocean Walk 10, offering the best movie-going experience at an affordable price. Join Paragon Ocean Walk 10 for $5 movies all day on Tuesdays. Be the first to see the week's new releases at their Thursday night midnight screenings. And Paragon Ocean Walk 10 is the only theater in town that offers midnight shows Friday and Saturday nights, conveniently located at the Ocean Walk Shops on the beach in Daytona. Paragon Ocean Walk 10 offers 3 hours of free parking with validation. The theaters have undergone extensive renovations and will soon boast reserved VIP seats, the giant 60-foot Hog Extreme screen, and the Lot Bar and Lounge. The perfect place to relax with a drink before or after your movie. Or you can book an event in their Vibe Screening Room featuring comfortable leather couches. Paragon Ocean Walk 10 in the Ocean Walk Shop. Why see a movie anywhere else? Visit them at ParagonTheaters.com.
In printing, there's a lot to be said for today's new, flexible, and powerful technology. Lightning fast, instant duplicating, rich true colors. But cutting-edge technology means nothing without old-world quality. Couchman Printing uses the latest technology to meet and exceed your every printing need, but it's old world touch and personal care that make the real difference. Couchman's printing professionals take the time to understand what you need and what it takes to get there. Whether you're in need of day-to-day forms or quality full-color printing, Couchman offers the best in quality at the best price. Call today for a quote. 386-756-3052. Business cards, stationery, newsletters, business forms. Ask Couchman about complete business solutions. Stop by 1634 South Ridgewood, a block and a half south of Bevel. Doing it the old-fashioned way with today's technology. Quality and service since 1940. It's Couchman Printing. Call 756-3052.
Are you afraid of the number 13? Are you afraid of being unhealthy, overweight, overtired, and just plain fat and worn out? Well, 13 is now your lucky number. Tasso here from Bodez Personalized Fitness in Ormond. That's right, $13 can change your health, energy, and body appearance. $13 starts your fitness membership and $13 a month for the first 3 months of your membership. We'll use our Smart Start Fitness program and our Fitness Passport to begin your program and set you on the path of better health, energy, and fitness. My Bodez team and I will coach you, assist you, and guide you to success. Call 672-6464. That's 672-6464 to set your no-obligation consultation. Remember, $13 down, $13 per month for the first 3 months to start your fitness journey. My staff and I are motivated and committed to you getting results. That's the difference you'll find from the moment you walk in our program and begin your journey. So call 672-6464 to start your fitness program with only $13 down and $13 a month for the first 3 months. And of course, all of our memberships have a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee.
Call 239-0033 for Fitness Friday and your host, Tasso Kyriakis. Here's Tasso.
All right, welcome back to Fitness Friday. We take a little bit of a turn now. You know, the theme for Fitness Friday has become, love, laugh, and lift, as we started our relationship with Love Whole Foods about 3-4 weeks ago. And we have our second in-studio guest with us, Richard. Is it pronounced Mosner, Richard? Mosner. And Richard has an interesting background. Just so you know, you're not afraid to tell people your age, right? Because you don't look it. Richard is 69 years old, and Mitch called me the other day and said, Tasso, I've got a guy that's walking the walk and living the life. And he has an interesting background because you retired from DuPont, who's been a lot of talk about DuPont and the Dow Chemicals of the world and the Monsantos. And I was just telling you guys off air, I was reading an article about these companies are trying to take over the food supply of the world, basically.
Yeah, but they're doing it one seed at a time. What the listeners may not be aware of is that the United States Department of Agriculture and Washington specifically have allowed it's called Syngent. Syngent is a company that is buying up the heirloom seed stock that's been a part of the public domain since biblical times.
Now, tell people what you mean by heirloom seed stocks, because some of our listeners may not be aware of that.
Well, in the old days, farmers didn't go to a seed store. They harvested the seeds from the previous crop generation. That's how basically farmers stayed independent. And that seed stock goes right back to the Garden of Eden. It has always been in the public domain until 1987, when a landmark decision was made that allowed Monsanto to be able to genetically modify that seed stock and then get a proprietary patent on the resultant genetically modified seed. And most of the listeners out there are aware that Love Whole Foods has made it our mission to try and screen from the food supply these new introduced gene-altered seed stocks, which are so responsible for this explosion in allergies and autoimmune diseases like diabetes, of which Richard's family has a direct contact with. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease in the type 2 form. And then also things like fibromyalgia and these new allergies, gluten. There isn't a listener out there that isn't aware of this idea of gluten.
And gluten is the lesser of the evils. As we'll develop this, let's get to Rich a little bit. Rich, tell us a little bit about your background first and why why Mitch wanted to bring you into the show, because he called me up and said, listen, this guy is living the love, laugh, and lift credo.
Well, I am probably healthier now in most respects, but not all respects, at age 69 than I was at age 39.
Yeah, hey, you got that, brother. Same here.
I had a number of ailments, and my family has had ailments that the doctors weren't really helpful with, and consequently we step by step turned to nutrition, and we have treated these ailments with nutrition and exercise successfully.
Can you give us a quick rundown? Give me the top 3 challenges. I know, but share it with the audience.
I suffered mightily in my 30s and 40s with colitis until someone told me about MSM, methylsulfonyl-methane, and 3,000 milligrams of MSM corrected that. I can't say cured, but certainly controlled so that I didn't have colitis attacks.
Yeah, for the listeners, that's good enough, that's for sure.
Extremely debilitating. Now I've gone up to 5,000 now, and I don't have an encounter with colitis for the last 10 years. So.
How'd that have an effect on your... Now, you've always been an athlete. When you were at Stetson, you were on 2 athletic teams, which Tasso's going to appreciate. This was no bench warmer. But I know with me, when I went through menopause, man, that lower back pain suddenly wasn't going away, or that C3 in the neck. How did you find the MSM helped with your old sports injuries?
Well, the MSM helps a great deal with pain management and recovery from injury or excessive exercise. That was most evident in 2004 when we had a lot of tree damage in our neighborhood, and it seemed that I was the one up the ladder into the trees and on the roofs clearing my neighbors' homes, because it's, it's essentially a 60s and 70s age group in that neighborhood. So I was up 60 feet in the trees cutting down limbs and dragging them off of the houses. So I could hardly walk at bedtime, but the next morning I was fine to do
Up
it
and
again.
rolling. Now, what's your lifestyle been like? You're eating better. You also exercise. Tell us about your exercise component of your lifestyle.
Well, I've had arthritis in my 20s and 30s. It was rather severe then. I couldn't hit a golf ball as far as I could in college. I played high school and college golf, and I was rather dismayed that I couldn't hit it very far. So I found MSM to be most helpful. Now, I've gone successively with more and more nutrition and more better diet. But in terms of exercise, the spinal stenosis that resulted from the arthritis led then finally to sciatica. I always concluded that I'll have to have a hip replacement one day, but that wasn't the case at all. Finally, in about 2006, I had a series of MRIs at about the 4th or 5th clinic, and they said I needed back surgery for my sciatica. But I instead elected to go with, after determining that it was very debilitating and would cause me to have to give up my scuba diving and golf, I went with the inversion table, which has been a godsend. The inversion table decompresses the spine and enables you to live with the problem otherwise. Now, this limits what I can do. I don't do weightlifting because of the spine, and I don't do running or jumping because of the spine.
But that explains why you told me that your number one was swimming. So
yes,
most of our listeners out there can certainly appreciate that.
When we moved here and built our house in 2003, we built a pool that's 8 foot wide, very tiny, but 50 feet long. It's a lap pool specifically designed for 2 people to swim laps and gain health. Now, recently I've ascertained that aerobics, per se, are not healthy for the heart and lungs. Aerobics don't help the lungs.
Well, let's be clear on the steady state aerobics, as was promoted by Ken Cooper, do not have the effect on aerobic capacity that was once thought that they did.
Right.
And as long as I'm on the exercise, I want to come back to you don't lift weights because of your back. You have not lifted weights in a correct protocol to strengthen your back, because Dr. Michael Fulton, who is from this area, through the Nautilus Medicine,
my
sports
favorite
medicine,
orthopede for sure.
Nautilus Sports Medicine and Medics Sports Medicine has all he does is conservative neck and back care. Him and his son, and I've been fortunate enough to be trained by him as well as to have experienced his protocols, and I use it with my people. We have the spinal stenosis is something we've had tremendous success with for two reasons. Number one, flexibility of full range of motion exercise, and beginning to strengthen and balance that core strength through not necessarily core exercise. The problem with weightlifting is, number one, too much of weightlifting is one rep demonstrations of strength. Number two, it's about training the core with direct core training exercises like getting on a ball and things of that nature. That's not the way to approach strengthening a damaged back. The way to approach it in most cases, when you see the spinal stenosis in really bad cases, is if you will strengthen the muscular sleeve that supports it in a non-compressive manner and non-torque manner, you begin to strengthen and lessen the effect of that sciatica from that standpoint. So that'll be a thing I'll have to get you, because your story is very similar. I have a fellow that comes down one time per week from Jacksonville. When he was 67 years old, he heard me on the radio here. His name is Steve Cooper. Heard me on the radio show here. We happened to be driving through, and calls me at the club and says, I happen to be in Daytona doing some business, and I'm driving by. He's a retired pilot. He says, I heard you, and you talked about you could get people results working out 1 day a week. He says, I have this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. I said, well, come by and we'll talk. He came for the first 6 weeks, twice a week. And since that day, he has come one time a week. The only other thing he does is he golfs. And when he was 69 years old, he did his flight test, because he still maintains a pilot's license, and his chemistry was exactly the same as 1971. And he when you see him, he walks and talks like he's like you do, Rich. He's 55 years old. Swimming is a great activity, but the fact that your back can stand the torque of swimming says to me that you can stand a correct protocol under proper posture to increase the strength of that back. And
posture is extremely important. Yes. I've read a great deal on that, and I try to use good posture, particularly when I'm doing something like clearing sawpill meadows from a fire break behind my house.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. You also mentioned that you've turned gardening into a year-round activity, primarily because the cold weather, December to March, limits your lap pool time. So I thought that was a creative insight also, that trimming, hauling the brush, doing the seed bed preparation was also just basically fun as an exercise protocol.
And that's his lifting part of his formula of love, laugh, and lift.
Otherwise, you won't stay with it. If it's that repetitive, boring, I'm on a treadmill and I'm falling asleep, or I'm not, it's not inspiration. Come on, Tasso, we know what it's like.
So Rich, let's come back to your background and your history, because this evolution that you've had. Now, you're sort of like me in background. Now, my evolution came about 2 years ago to the quality of our food. And I really became very conscious. I remember, I told the story, I remember hearing Jeff LaCour speak about pollution of the water in the Osceola Lake, or now Okeechobee Lake, and saying that fish, the genetic modifications of half tails were coming out. And I leaned over to my brother and I whispered in his ear, I said, well, maybe if people ate fish with half tails, they'd lose half their tail, and that'd be good for people who are getting fat, making a joke. But in reality is that pollution that I maybe scoffed at 20 years ago now is something that is very evident and being propagated, because the one thing that I really have learned in the last 2 years that brings my chemistry background in is that when these cattle are grain-fed, when we eat genetically modified food, it actually modifies our own genome that we have in our bodies. And that's changing the way our bodies react and the source of the food that we're getting as well.
Right, and that's interesting. As Richard and I were waiting for the first segment to close, we were talking about the fact that Dr. Shelley Rogers, Dr. Bernie Siegel, the head of oncology at Yale New Haven Medical Center, were saying that degenerative disease only accounts for maybe 7 to 5% of most what we call formal diseases. The rest is all lifestyle choices.
That's right.
You're either getting on the Love Boat or you're sailing on the cruise ship Gigantic.
And the thing about it is that disease continuum comes from the sugar in our diets, the inactivity, the overstimulation of our immune system by people who smoke, they drink, the stress that we go through. Because these are natural responses that we can't control that we go through for the fight or flight response, for instance, which is the stress cascade. So, and inflammation is really the core of almost every disease that we can think of that affects our society that's driving the pharmaceuticals at this time. So, Richard, in your case, these health habits, traditional medicine of pharmaceuticals, how much are you involved in? How much do you take? Do you take any blood pressure or cholesterol meds? Or
I take no meds except for the natural thyroid hormone,
which is isn't a medication. It's a glandular extract.
Right.
Yeah, but no, we consistently refuse prescription drugs and go for the natural approach in every case. And it works.
Right.
That's incredible, Tasso. I mean, and the viewers can't see the physical shape that Richard's in, but that's incredible. What happens when you tell your primary physician you're not on any medications, Richard?
They're incredulous, and they don't believe me.
I have in front of me an 8x10 sheet of paper. It has 77 supplements that Richard takes. What happens when you show the list of supplements to your primary care physician?
Oh, well, by definition, I must be crazy, but they work. I subscribe to somewhere between 15 and 20 health newsletters, most of which I get on a daily basis. My email inbox runs 80 to 90 messages per day, most of which is health, the rest is stock trading. And I read this stuff. Now, most of it I recognize because they repeat the issues.
Right.
So a lot of it I can delete right offhand, but I consistently study, particularly on those issues that are ahead of us, like Alzheimer's and other things. But I've dealt with today's issues fairly well, and I'll continue to follow this protocol.
Now, Mitch, tell me something. On that sheet that Richard gave you of his vitamins he takes a day, do any of them have any side effects, like you got to be tested for your liver, or it deteriorates your joints, or it doesn't allow your brain cells to duplicate productively and healthily? Anything like that we have to worry about with statins and some of the steroidals?
Well, Richard's too smart to take the statins. And in my last newspaper article that I wrote, I absolutely I documented Dr. Stephanie Senoff's direct link between long-term use of statins, blood pressure medications, and especially cholesterol-lowering drugs like Lipitor or now the levastatins, and the creation of a perfect storm in the brain that results in Alzheimer's. I can only say the reason why Love Whole Foods is expanded and is thriving in this economic recession is simply because there are no side effects in most cases. Now, Michael Fulton is a friend. Dr. Fulton has access to the computers just like every listener does. You simply go on the computer, go to WebMed. There are any number of sites. But in the vast majority of the 76 supplements that he's taking, the proof is in the pudding. Richard's blood work now at 69 is better than it was at 30, which is exactly the case in my own case.
Most people don't realize that there are, as of 2 years ago, the data is available, there were no deaths from supplementation or vitamins. On the other hand, there were 80 to 90,000 deaths attributable to prescription drugs.
Harvard Medical School said as much as 100. For the listeners that want to see it, Newsweek magazine reported as much as 160,000 in a year, but those are 80,000 is pretty stunning in its own right.
And I want to be very clear about something. We're talking about using traditional supplements. We're talking about things that may be complementary or alternative to physicians. But, it doesn't discount that these physicians have gone and worked hard. A lot of them care, but the medical industry of these caring professionals that went to school has been hijacked by the pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
And Mitch, I know that you do business with an awful lot of physicians that come into your place. I do business with them, and these are guys that are caring. They want to live the right life, but they get into the drum of the standards. For instance, there's a research topic. There's a research paper out there that somehow got published. But it was on statins, and it said that even a healthy person with healthy cholesterol should be taking statins. And that research topic was scheduled to be a 12-month research. They had to stop the research at 6.5 months, but yet published the results from the first 4 months on lowering cholesterol and published it as a paper that would be how that got through. Is probably one of our next topics we're talking about when you say Monsanto is evil.
Yes,
because
Monsanto is evil.
These review companies, these review groups that review these articles are dominated by the people who the money of the Monsantos, the Dows, and
it's all about the money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really proud. Let's put it on a positive note. Every listener out there is aware of a new antibiotic-resistant bacteria called C. diff. It's virtually in every hospital in Canada. And because so many of our guests come from Canada, we brought C. diff into our community here. Florida Hospital has now, with the continuing ed programs that we've given, and the presentation of what Health Canada found as a way to kill C. diff using a probiotic. Not only am I proud that Love Whole Foods introduced probiotics long before the current crop on television cropped up. We're talking 24 years ago. We were talking about the benefits of probiotic, but just for example, BioK not only will kill C. diff, but for victims that have been exposed to it, will make sure that it doesn't come back. That's incredible. And that's only by reading the medical literature. That's the American Journal of Gastroenterology. Florida Hospital, to our credit, is outstanding in the sense that they read the medical literature. That's incredible.
And they're Seventh-day Adventists, and at the core of the Seventh-day Adventists,
food is medicine.
That's
nutrition.
Right.
Food is medicine.
Yes.
And I don't apologize to anyone. Love Whole Foods. The name's on the door. It's all about love. It isn't just the Love Boat. It's the food that you eat on the Love Boat is organic, pesticide, herbicide, antibiotic free, hormone free. We haven't even talked about hormones, which will be the subject of future discussions. But most important, it's been the standard of organic and free of genetic modification is what we're militant about. It isn't, some people may find me annoying, that's fine. But that passion is there for one reason. It is the only thing that firewalls us from most of the disease that is the topic of this discussion.
We got about 4 minutes left in the show, and before we get away, I've told people where Bodez is at on Granada, and the $13 down and $13 a month for the first 3 months special is running till March 30th. But I want to let people know Love Whole Foods is available at 275 Williamson Boulevard, Norman Beach, or on 1633 Taylor Road, Port Orange, Florida. And the thing about that, going to the Taylor Road location, is not as visible from the street as your Ormond locations. It's a little harder to get into, but it's worth the thing.
Right, we're just literally a half a block west of 95, right across the street from Publix. At the west, I think it's a Westgate shopping plaza, right. But there's a street sign. Anyone that knows the House of Gold or the Walgreens, we're behind the Walgreens House of Gold, just west of 95, first block.
Now, Rich, we had about 3 minutes left, and you pointed to your little paper there that Mitch had. You wanted to make a point to something that you pointed to.
Yes, I think what Mitch was most interested in is what form of exercise I do in the pool.
Right.
since I don't believe in aerobics or cardio, because aerobics doesn't help the lungs and cardio doesn't help the heart, I've read extensively in Dr. Sears's PACE methodology, and I've adapted that to my stenosic condition. Thereby, I do interval training, adapted to the pool, so I sprint and then rest and do 5 to 8 cycles.
Right.
I've worked up to swimming 50 yards underwater without air. So 3 lengths of the pool, 3 times 50 feet, 50 yards.
That's great.
Underwater. 50,
that's
50 seconds underwater.
And we have people, this interval training, which we call burst training, because we've modified a little bit. I'm going to give a class on how the burst training affects our fight or flight response and going through the 4 stages, and causing this catecholamine cascade that heals the body, as well as strengthens the mitochondria, strengthens the cell membranes, and that helps us from all aspects to dissipate this ACTH buildup we get. But I think we have to understand that, when I first started studying this, I said, wow, the chemistry of this is exactly how the chemistry of our strength training has been for 25 years. Because for years, when I first started this business, just as Mitch is committed to what he does, I started 25 years ago telling people you don't need to stretch before you exercise. You need to strength train. You need to go from machine to machine. And through that method will increase your cardiovascular fitness.
Well, Tasso, let me summarize just because we're at the last 2 minutes. We're going to be doing Love Whole Foods' commitment to continuing education is going to be again utilized on March 27th at 7 o'clock. Any one of the listeners that would like more details on what both Richard and Tasso were talking about, the subject is called Aligned. How we can integrate our health decisions for maximum benefit, and it's free. It's at 7 o'clock, and it'll be at the Ormond Beach location. The number there is 677-5236. That's going to be a standing room only presentation, and you're welcome to join us, Tasso. That'd be great if you'd give that insight for what you just were discussing.
Great. All right, we have about a minute left, so let me remind you, this has been Fitness Friday. It's been brought to you by Love Whole Foods and by Bodez Personalized Fitness, where your health is the number one concern that we have. We want to improve dramatically and positively your health, and we do it through the love, laugh, and lift. Love your food, love your body, love the way you treat your body. Laugh every day, and then remember to lift. Remember to put that body underneath in its natural plane of motion, to put it under resistance and cause it to adapt. That's what Richard has done very successfully. 69 years old, no medications. You can hit cognitively very active and very alert, and is cleaning trees off his neighbor's roof. So 672-6464, we appreciate you being with us, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Enjoy Bike Week. Be safe. Remember, look twice for those bikers.
WNDB Daytona Beach, first in local news. Fox News updates at the top of every hour. Online at newsdaytonabeach.com.